My bad, guys. So UFC 309 is coming back at you at Saturday. What is it? The 16th? Yeah, Saturday the 16th. All right. I'm going to say this up front. I'm going to say it real quick. Jon Jones is getting knocked the fuck out. I know it doesn't seem likely. I know everyone's picking against him. I know he's a minus, 700 or some shit? Yeah. All of that is true. But I'm telling you, right now, he's going to get knocked out. There's a lot of factors going into this fight. No one has broke it down the way I've seen, or I'm going to break it down realistically. Everyone's picking Jon Jones because it's fucking Jon Jones. I'm here to tell you that it's not going to work out that way because he's Jon Jones. Let me tell you the first thing. Stipe is a D1 wrestler. He's a D1 wrestler. Meaning he's not going to get just taken down like Cyril Gane. You know, Cyril Gane, a Frenchman, gave up pretty quick. Stipe is from Ohio. He's been through some real shit. He's seen some real shit. You ever been to Ohio? I don't want to be there. I don't think so. Stipe's from there, dude. Add the fact that Stipe is mostly known for his boxing. That's what his main success has been in his career, was his knockouts, his punching, his back foot cross on for Fabricio Verdum that won him the world title. Are we forgetting he's able to do that going backwards? He dropped Verdum cold, brother. And I don't care what people are going to say about, oh, well, he fought an Overeem who wasn't in his prime, or he fought JDS when he wasn't in his prime. Like, listen, it is what it is. That was a moment in time of when he held the title and he did what he had to do. So I'm not discrediting him. It's like trying to discredit Jon Jones because he was fighting Lyoto Machida, Rampage, and Vitor, and they were from an older generation. Vitor was on TRT when he fought Jon Jones, and Jon Jones beat him. So I don't want to hear that shit about Stipe and the people he defended the belt against. Look, at the end of the day, these are world title defenses, and these guys came out on top. That's what needs to be that's what needs to be known. And Stipe's defenses were as legit as they come because there weren't no fluke wins. He beat these motherfuckers up, and to act like I don't have let me slow myself down. I don't have notes, so I'm basically gonna rant this shit out, right? So hear me out. Stipe actually fought Francis Ngannou, and hear me out on this one. Stipe actually beat Francis in the first fight, and in the second fight, he was doing everything he could to keep it going and competitive. It's just because it's fucking Francis, and he was patient Ngannou. That was a different beast we hadn't expected. That was a different beast we hadn't seen. Stipe didn't know what to do. I'm pretty sure when Stipe got that first takedown stuffed in the second fight with Francis, he was shitting bricks. Like, oh shit, this guy can do this now? Fuck. And guess what happened? He got knocked the fuck out. That anyone would have gotten knocked the fuck out by Francis that day. So I'm not discrediting Stipe because of him, because he got knocked out by Francis. But I am going to credit him because he beat Francis. Because that does not get brought up enough. And I know it's because the UFC is trying to hide Francis Ngannou in the promotions and not even acknowledge his existence. That's an entirely different video. Dana White and the UFC are bitches for that. But again, that's an entirely different video. I'm not going to get into that. All my point is this. Stipe actually had the balls to fight Francis when Francis was like the scary guy that everyone was afraid to go up against. And he fought him and he won. And then he fought DC a couple months later. Lost to DC, I'll say, with a compromised chin, and that's how DC was able to catch him. Now, DC caught him. Fair play to DC, but his chin was compromised. Look at the next following fight after that. Look at the second DC fight and the third DC fight. Stipe was eating shots clean, and he wasn't getting fazed by that. I think it was because he was able to recover from the actual concussion trauma from fighting Francis Ngannou for 25 minutes. That's fucking insane, dude. He beat Francis. Like that's it. To this day, Stipe is the only guy to legitimately beat Francis in MMA. I know Francis lost to Derek Lewis, but that fight doesn't really count. Even Dana White will tell you that fight doesn't count. So, Stipe beat Francis. Stipe actually fought Francis twice. So that already lets you know what type of pedigree he's got. Stipe is a D1 wrestler, so if Jones tries to shoot a takedown, Stipe will know how to stuff it, and Stipe will more than likely get back to the feet, where he'll have the success in the boxing, because Jon Jones is not a phenomenal boxer. Jon Jones is a jack of all trades, master of none. He could do everything, but nothing he's specifically excelled at, and specifically on the feet, Jon Jones is not a knockout artist. He's not a KO artist. Yeah, he caught DC, a guy who was 5'10", and Jon Jones is 6'3" or 6'4", and caught him with a head kick. Oh my God, that's impressive. Fair play. He caught DC with a head kick. But other than that, how many other knockouts does Jon Jones have? He has knockdowns with his elbows, so credit to that. But Stipe is a big dude. I think he could take a couple elbows. He might take put it like this. If Stipe could take clean shots from Francis Ngannou for 25 minutes, I think he could take Jon Jones's elbows. I'm willing to say that, right? All right. So, with that being said, I am thinking Stipe is going to keep the fight standing. Jon Jones is going to try to get dirty. That's how I see Jones trying to win this fight. He's desperate. I got so much things going against Jon Jones, not even just physically but mentally into this fight. If he wins, he will be in my book the greatest of all time. Jon Jones is my favorite fighter. It may not even seem like that off of the way I'm just describing the whole fight and everything, but no, trust me, Jon Jones is my favorite fighter. I just don't like the way he's kind of going about this whole Aspinall situation, and I don't think Stipe is not a fair matchup, but an easy matchup. It's going to be challenging, put it that way. Stipe is a big fucking dude. They just weighed in. I'm recording this on Friday, the day before the fight. They just weighed in. Stipe weighed in at almost 250. Jones at like 240. So Stipe is going in with 10 pounds of weight on top of Jones. That's going to play a factor. That's absolutely going to play a factor. Stipe is a natural heavyweight. So being 10 pounds heavier is not going to be an issue for him. He's already went 25 minutes. That's not going to be hard for him to do again. So put that into a factor. Let's see what else. Let's add the fact that Jon Jones doesn't knock people out. I also come into the fact that if you're going to credit or discredit Stipe because he got knocked out 3 years ago and he's coming off a knockout, you got to discredit Jon Jones. He's coming off an injury a year ago. That's way sooner than Stipe's knockout. Stipe had longer time to recover from his knockout loss than Jon Jones has with his pectoral injury. Put it like that, all right? So Stipe has everything. All the momentum is on Stipe's side. It may not seem like that because everyone in the promotion and all the embeddeds and the press conferences, everyone's trying to suck off Jon Jones, and no one's really giving a shit about Stipe. But trust me, Stipe's got momentum on his side. It just may not seem like that because we haven't seen him in 3 years. But add the fact that he hasn't had to tax his body with training camp after training camp. He's coming off a very long, restful layoff with his family. He's content with life. He's a firefighter, so he's helping his local community, which is only just giving him more good karma. Bro, I'm telling you, Stipe is gonna knock out Jon Jones, clean, cold. It's gonna be crazy. It's like I can see the future, bro. I'm telling you. I'm like Mystic Mac over here. Now, how does Jon Jones win this fight? Eye pokes. How does Jon Jones win this fight? Oblique kicks. How does Jon Jones win this fight? I'm forgetting. What do you do to Glover where he just kind of like racked up his fucking elbow or arm or whatever with a fucking overhook? Yeah, he's got to get dirty. We got to get a vintage Jon Jones performance against Stipe where he's just a dirty motherfucker. Eye pokes, maybe kick him in the nuts. I don't know. But Jones is going to go for it. He has to go for it. He's fighting a guy that's bigger than him already. And I know it's crazy because Aspinall's bigger and faster and younger than him. But Stipe's bigger than him. And I would say Stipe is even faster on the feet. I've seen Jon Jones' training footage leading up to this fight. He's not that fast of a his hand speed's not that impressive to me, in all honest opinion. When he was in those few minute or two in the Surreal Gone fight, Jones didn't look all that impressive in terms of like his striking. Realistically, he had some moments where he kind of pop shot Surreal and it kind of spooked him. But I think Surreal was just more caught up in the moment and got spooked than Jones actually like affecting him with his power. I don't think Stipe is going to get spooked, bro. This isn't Stipe's first rodeo. I can see Stipe doing this, man. I chips on the table. I'm putting it all on Stipe, man. Realistically, the ghost of Mirko Krokop will prevail tomorrow, and Stipe will be the new champion and new again. We'll bring that belt back to Ohio. It'll be a beautiful moment. Jon Jones maybe does a rematch. or retires, or he can do his little fun fight legacy run where he's fighting Derek Lewis, Jamal Hill. Fuck, bro. Might as well throw Mario Bautista in that bitch too, man. I don't know. I don't know what happens to Jones if he loses this fight. That's the thing where I don't know what happens after that. All I know is that I do see Stipe winning. And if Jones wins, credit to him. Like I said, greatest of all time. He is my favorite fighter, so I wouldn't be upset about it. But I just see the writing on the wall. Put it like this. Oh my God, I almost forgot to say. Jones has mentioned multiple times in his career he does not want to fight in New York I forgot for what specific reasons, but he was alluding to the fact that he felt like it was just bad luck or some shit, like bad juju. And then all of a sudden, on what is supposedly his last fight of his career, his biggest fight of his career, he's going to do it in New York, his home state. I don't know, man. I don't know. And Jones put that juju on himself. I didn't do that. He said he wouldn't fight in New York, and now he's fighting in New York. So I don't know. There's a lot going into it that I feel like is kind of messing with Jones. The Aspinall situation messing with Jones. The fact that Dana White, low-key, I think Dana White just punked John Jones at the press conference when he said that he wants the winner of this fight to fight Tom Aspinall after. Totally throws a wrench into Jones's little plans that he had set up with Pereira and all that. And to be honest, I think Jones knows that he's kind of is going to get put in a corner by the promotion and by Dana White. Because Dana White could have just said, we'll see what after the fact, or we'll see after the fight, we'll see what happens, we'll see who wins. He'll say something like that, but he was like, no, whoever wins has to fight Tom Aspinall next. He said that definitely. So, I don't know. I feel like Dana White was buttering John Jones up all leading up to this fight, saying he's the greatest of all time, only to pull his fashion and kind of like stab him in the back and say, well, now you got to fight Tom Aspinall. I don't give a fuck about what you want to fight, bitch. Well, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but that's just how I'm reading between the lines in these situations in public, especially in these press conferences. You got to read between the lines in what they say and how they react to things. And yeah, so that's what I got. That's all I got for the main event. I got Stipe round maybe 1, maybe 2 knockout. I don't see it going past 3 or 4, to be honest. If it goes past 3 or 4, Jones might pull some shit, you know, if it goes past 3 or 4. But I think a fresh Stipe, a rested Stipe, is gonna just maybe catch him with a blitz and just catch Jones. And Jones has never been hit by a heavyweight, even in the Ciryl Gane fight. He never got hit by a heavyweight by Ciryl Gane. So it's just interesting to see what happens. You know, it's very interesting. Moving on to the rest of the card, we got what's his name, Charles do Bronx. I have him knocking out Michael Chandler, that piece of shit. I don't like Chandler. I'm gonna stand on record. He's just he speaks like a politician, and there's nothing I hate more than a politician. Very two-faced. Very behind the scenes. Seems like he's just not the same person he portrays himself to be in public, on the microphone and cameras. Josh Thompson's alluded to this. Yeah, so I think it was hilarious. Chandler wasted 2 years of his career and his life waiting for Conor McGregor. And I think Charles is looking good. I'll say this, though. In the first fight, it was close. Chandler could catch Charles, and I was actually worried when the fight was announced. But now that we're getting closer to the fight, and they weighed in this morning, and Chandler has said multiple times he was basically training the last 2 years for a fight at 170, meaning he went up in weight, meaning he was putting weight on for 170 pounds, and now he's gonna have to go back to 155. So I don't know how his body's going to adjust to expecting to keep 15 pounds and now having to cut the 15 pounds. Obviously, he made weight. Obviously, he made it. So there's no issue with that. But I don't know, man. Sometimes when you put all that extra weight on and you try to go back down and cut weight, you know, it just happened with Max Holloway. I feel like the going up to 155 and cutting back down to 145 compromised his chin. Granted, Elliot Taporio hits like a motherfucker, but I don't think that extra 10-pound weight cut on top of just moving up to 155 and then bulking up to 155 and going back down to 145 helped. Topuria power definitely didn't help, but that didn't help either. And Charles do Bronx has power in his hands. Charles do Bronx is a crafty submission artist. Charles do Bronx has been active. He was competitive with Arman Tsarukyan. It was a split decision. He knocked out Beneil Dariush, so that kind of gave him some more momentum. So I got Charles beating Chandler. I don't know if he'll beat by knockout again. That'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind that. If Charles does a submission, that would also be cool because then that would extend his career submission streak to what would it be, like 20 or 19? I think he's at 19, so I think it will go up to 20 or 21. I gotta double check. But either way, Charles is making history again. I just see him winning. He's a finish or be finished fighter, and he's got the motivation of his newborn child. You know, that's also a thing. Charles, he's actually the father of his children. Michael Chandler has to go buy kids. You know, Charles, the balls in Charles' balls work or whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm saying. You know, Charles actually, you know, his kids are his kids. You know, his dick works is essentially what I'm saying. Michael Chandler, you know, very beta, bro, very beta-esque. Had to wait 2 years for his wife via email while his wife was getting plowed by other dudes. There's just so much to like hate on and they joke about Chandler about, dude. Michael Chandler's a piece of shit. I don't care what anyone says. Fuck Michael Chandler. Charles do Bronx, by knockout, submission, don't matter. Gets his hand raised. Let's fucking go. All right, moving on to the rest of the card. Let's see. We had that woman fight. Don't really have much to say about that women's fight. I think the Silvia, she's like known to be a finisher, and Vivian Araujo, or I don't want to be disrespectful, but her opponent, she's a crafty veteran, been around, hasn't been finished. So we're putting someone who's never been finished, I guess someone that's known to finish people. So give me a decision by Silvia. And if she gets a finish, that's impressive. If she doesn't, again, it's women's MMA. Wouldn't be surprised. Going down the card, we got Bot Nickel. Little fucking my dad will sue you, Mr. My Dad Will Sue You ass. Versus Paul Craig, the Bear Jew. I gotta say this, man. I don't like Bo Nickel. I think his hype in wrestling, while it's respectable what he's done, I don't know if it's gonna translate 100% to MMA. It could be an Aaron Pico situation, realistically. It's not gonna happen in this fight, though. I'll tell you that. Bo Nickel. What's his name? Paul Craig. Yeah, I've been saying this whole time. At 205. He's had a bad chin, a terrible chin. He gets knocked out very quick. At 185, Paul Craig at 185 though. Paul Craig 185 gets knocked out by Augusto Win, so he has no chin at 185. He went a war. He went a fucking war with who? With Andre Muniz in his middleweight debut. He won that fight, but it was a fucking war against a mid dude. Yeah, no. And then he got knocked out by Barajo, and then he got knocked out by someone else, I'm forgetting. So I'm just not impressed by Paul Craig at 185. I have no expectations of him going far at 185. Can he pull an upset? He's known to do it, and Bo Nickel has the wrestling style to maybe give Paul Craig the opportunity to pull up a submission. But again, I don't see it even going to the ground. I see Bo Nickel knocking out Paul Craig. I think Bo Nickel knows this as well. He said it was known that he requested this fight. He specifically requested Paul Craig, meaning Bo Nickel specifically requested a guy with no chin, a guy that will get easily knocked out by anybody. Yeah, this guy cherry picks fights. I'm not a fan of Bo Nickel. I need to see him actually compete against a legitimate contender, a legitimate fighter, because this fucker's trying to do the Tony Ferguson plotline, 5 fights and a title. No, bitch. You're getting exposed by possibly the top 10 his wrestling pedigree could get him to the top 5. But then, against someone like DDP, Kamzat, even Barajo, I see those guys giving Bo Nickel trouble. I can see Bo Nickel being such a pussy that if he wins his fight, I can see him after he wins his fight, because I do predict him to win this fight. So after he wins this fight with Paul Craig, that he sits out for like a year or whatever, and then he sets up a fight with Robert Whittaker coming off of his very terrible injury against the Kamzat fight. That's the type of vibes I get off Bo Nickel. I don't see him trying to get the exciting fights. I don't see him trying to get the challenging fights. I see him just trying to get the easy fights. He's trying to pull the Sean O'Malley, fight the fucking 125ers at 135 and act like he's fucking the shit or some shit. Nah, I'm not buying in the stock in Bo Nickel. I'm picking him to win this fight because it's a winnable fight. He should run through Paul Craig. If this is competitive in any degree, it only adds to my my grievances on Bo Nickel that he's not that fucking good. So, Bo Nickel, you have 2 minutes to knock out Paul Craig, or you're a fucking fraud. And you will get fraud checked by a legitimate, actual MMA competitor. Other than that, I don't really give a shit. His podcast sucks from the clips I've seen. Very monotone, very boring. I'm just not interested in these manufactured school shooter prospects that the UFC has. You know, Sean O'Malley gave me school shooter vibes of not having a personality and just being a fucking lame dude. I'm getting the same vibes with Bo Nickel. No personality, but cherry picking fights. Yeah, I'm not interested in this. Not interested in Bo Nickel. So picking him to win because Paul Craig has no chin. That's all I got. All right, now we're in Madison Square Garden, and we're getting a Ruffy fight. Mauricio Ruffy, excuse me. Shades of Conor McGregor, possibly. This is exciting. He's fighting against Lion Top. Lion Top's he's a game fighter. He's game, so he could give Mauricio some trouble. But Ruffy's slick, man. Ruffy's slick. I can see him knocking out Lion Top, which will only give him more credit because Lion Top, I don't think he's ever been knocked out, so there's credit to that. If he could pull it off. There's not much to say about him realistically because he hasn't really had too many fights in the UFC. His fight against Malarkey was cool. That was fun, but it's Jamie Malarkey, and I'm not trying to shame or shit on Jamie Malarkey, but he's not that good. And Lion Top, he's just a tiny step up in competition, so it's going to be interesting to see. But realistically, Lion Top is a canvas for Mauricio Ruffy to paint a masterpiece. So I'm picking Ruffy. I'm gonna pick him by knockout. I'm picking him by knockout as well. Round 2, maybe. Maybe he'll need a round to warm himself up, get an idea of the range and the flow. But yeah, I expect him to have a vintage Conor-esque performance that will give him a lot of attention, especially since this will be in Madison Square Garden, and that is where Conor won his 2 belts, so there's history in that. So if we can see another guy moving the same way like Conor, that would be pretty special, bro. Not gonna lie. That's pretty much it for the rest of the card. I'm not really that interested in the prelims, to be honest. I'm more interested in the next week's fights with Figgy and Jan, but that's a different card. I don't want to really get into that. That's pretty much all I got to say about UFC 309. I got Stipe winning. I got Charles winning. I got Silva winning. I got Bo Nickel winning. And I got Mauricio Ruffy winning. Lock that parlay in. It's set. It's cashing in. That's all I got. But let me know. Let me know what you guys think. If you think John Jones is going to win, I really want you guys to give me an honest breakdown of how you think he's going to pull it off. Because, maybe he does a 12-6 elbows. I didn't even touch that topic in this video because I don't know if Jones will get an opportunity to be in a position to use those, is what I'm saying. So I'm not even putting that into a factor. I'm not even factoring it in because I don't think it will happen. But if you guys do, break it down. I want a good breakdown to see what's going on with how you guys see this fight. We're only 24 hours away. So realistically, your final predictions and thoughts on this fight are pretty much what we think is going to happen until we see what happens. But I got Stipe winning, man. I got Stipe winning. I think it'd be hilarious. And then, DC's going to be fucking smiling somewhere. That's just going to be cracking up. Stipe wins, retires, or he comes back and gets paid like $30 million, probably more like 10, probably more like 2, to rematch John Jones. And Jones will then probably fucking cheat or try to really hurt Stipe. But I don't know. The rematch would be interesting. The way I would predict the rematch is solely depending on how this fight plays out. So I won't even give it a prediction on that. But I'm just saying, from what I've seen, from how I'm seeing the fight play out, how I'm seeing the momentum of the two guys in the main event going, Stipe's got the momentum. Stipe's got the skill set to pull off the upset. And yeah. So yeah. If you guys can like, subscribe. Give me some comments down below, guys. I'm trying to build up this channel. I'm not as active as I want to be, so I want to make more videos. I got more videos coming. I got more ideas to break down videos and stuff like that. Yeah. So let me know. This is Left Hook Cross. I'm out.